Everyone, it's the DCEU podcast, man, and today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming Flash movie. I have read in an article where it says that after Barry Allen, aka the Flash, goes back in time through the Speed Force to save his mother, he'll come back and have altered their timeline. And with that, they will be getting rid of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, which in retrospect is a good move. Even though I love the DCEU, I have to say that I'm kind of disappointed how it started with skipping over 20 years worth of Batman to pretty much just rushing the whole Justice League team up rather than taking this step by step, trying to build up the team rather than trying to get it all in at once. And with that in mind, I want to discuss about what this means for the future of the franchise. We already have a glimpse of this in the new upcoming The Batman with Robert Pattinson. The movie is going to be in the DCEU, but it will not have Ben Affleck as Batman, and it will have a completely different cast altogether, not just with Batman, but with Alfred, Commissioner Gordon, all of them. But luckily, they will keep Wonder Woman and Aquaman the way it is, which makes me really happy because those movies are the biggest winners in the DCEU, among others like Shazam and Birds of Prey. But for the franchise altogether, with this reboot, open doors to even greater heights. Maybe it could even surpass the MCU if handled correctly and carefully this time. But on the downside, besides losing Ben Affleck, J.K. Simmons, and other actors from the Batman part of their world, will be possibly losing the Injustice League team up that was foreshadowed in the post-credit scene to Justice League. But on the upside, we will be, or hopefully all the characters that were featured in the movies could be handled a lot better. Like they can bring back Doomsday and Steppenwolf, but try to do a lot better job with them, especially with Lex Luthor. Because let's be honest, Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of him was more like either the Joker or the Riddler, maybe even the Mad Hatter. But hopefully we can still get like the Injustice League, because that's one like that DC will have over Marvel, is being able to have a team up of supervillains rather than like one or two supervillains teaming up or having like individual supervillains fighting the entire team. Hopefully this time we can get a better Doomsday and maybe do a Justice League story arc, maybe building up to him, or kind of like in Avengers Endgame with Iron Man, sort of like build up to Superman's demise by his hands. But we'll bring him back, especially with the black suit like in the comics. And maybe we can also have a better Steppenwolf who can be like a major threat to the heroes and Earth. I mean, he was threatening, but he wasn't like on the same level as say Loki from the Avengers, which in retrospect, I guess he's his counterpart, since just like in Justice League, he was leading an army to invade Earth and was trying to get a power source of untold power. But hopefully, through this reboot, we can still have Henry Cavill as Superman, because even though the DCEU started out pretty bad, one of the redeeming qualities was how Superman was played by Henry Cavill. I think he did a great Superman. The problem wasn't with casting, it was with how they handled the character. Which, in my opinion, I would give it maybe like a B minus, because when you think about it, it did a good job with him struggling with his identity as an alien, but also as an Earthling. But at the same time, I feel like they can rush this instead of like building up, trying to spread it out like they did with Iron Man in the MCU. Like, even though he's in the first Iron Man movie, he was still a hotshot egotist. Throughout the movie, like it sort of revolved around his ideas and his concerns of wanting to be more humanistic. I mean, he still retained his ego and his hotshot lifestyle, but he came to value like others more with a new Superman, and by that I mean characterized, not a new actor, can can follow that same path where he still, even after all the good he's done, he can still struggle with his identity as an Earthling, though he's a Kryptonian. Try to understand and what it means to be a regular human rather than trying to be a hero. And another thing that I hope that the reboot of the DCEU could explore is Martian Manhunter, because originally he was set to show up in Justice League, which is why they had the tagline "Reunite the Seven," even though there was only six of them. Originally, the general we see in Batman vs Superman and in Man of Steel was supposed to be Martian Manhunter because of the green outfit and his concern around Superman with him being an alien and him being an alien. But hopefully the DCEU can do a better job, because truthfully we could have a Martian Manhunter like in the animated Justice League, where he struggles with the idea about being the last of his kind, losing everything he had loved and come to know, and trying to adapt to a new lifestyle. It's not just a member of the Justice League and a hero on Earth, but just trying to be a part of the world. At the same time, we can see like how his wanting to be part of the Earth rather than just a member of it could also influence like the others who have the same kind of feeling, like with Wonder Woman and with Superman, especially maybe with Batman, since even though he's the full-fledged human, he still feels lost in a world filled with so much crime and violence. So Martian Manhunter's like feelings could be expressed and show like Justice Leaguers being supportive of him and of each other, because they view themselves as something other than Earthlings. Or maybe with Martian Manhunter again, this could also bring in Miss Martian, who we've seen in Young Justice as the niece of Martian Manhunter. Since we're altering the timeline, Martian Manhunter won't be that general we've seen in Justice League. And hopefully, this can be good for the upcoming The Suicide Squad, because even though the first one sucked, one thing I did like about it was them bringing in Cadmus, the DC equivalent to S.H.I.E.L.D. Even though the Justice League don't work with them, it would still be interesting if maybe if this version of Suicide Squad could be prepped up to take on the Justice League in a later installment, rather than just trying to be like an alternative to the Justice League. Now, it would be interesting for the DCEU to do like a movie or some kind of story arc revolving around the tension between Cadmus and the Justice League and other DC characters. Most of all, I just want to talk about what this means for the upcoming movies. For example, one of the upcoming DCEU movies, according to Wikipedia, is Booster Gold. He is a superhero who was from the future. He used to be a security guard at a museum over in Metropolis, and after going through all the exhibits, he ends up stealing some of the gadgets and managed to find his. And one of the things that he stole was a time traveling device that he used to go back in the past to fight crime, but only because he's trying to make something of himself, not some kind of heroic or noble reasons. And by going back in time, he's just going back to the dates during some of the biggest disasters, so he can prove himself of a hero. At the same, but this could be an interesting turn for the DCEU by doing this and bringing his story arc into the universe. Maybe at some point they may make some reference or some kind of, or it could be some kind of conflict with the two timelines. This would be especially awesome if they involve this in a future Crisis on Infinite Earths story arc in the DCEU, which could end up being the in-game equivalent. Other future movies I'm not quite sure of, since they hadn't come out yet. I guess they wouldn't be affected too much, or probably won't be affected at all. But with the Justice League Dark movie, since it has to do with magic, if the topic of time travel ever appears, or like alternative timelines, they may reference the original timeline. We'll have to wait and see for when that movie comes out and when the Booster Gold movie comes out. Maybe this could even bring us a new Joker, because Jared Leto's Joker was a major waste of an opportunity. There was hardly any screen time for him, and now that he's left, we're left to wonder if his portrayal of Joker would have ever have lived up to any of the Jokers that we've seen before. But this would also probably come in conflict with the Birds of Prey plot, with Harley Quinn trying to get over her Joker. Unless they try to make it where the new Joker is the same Joker in the same way how Wonder Woman and Aquaman still fit the timeline. But at the same time, since the Suicide Squad is going to be a reboot of the series, this could also lead to bringing in like a new Joker. Hopefully, it can be a better one. Hopefully, it can be a better casting choice than Jared Leto. I mean, I have my preferences on who it could be, but so by far, DC has made some wise choices on casting heroes. So hopefully, this villain will be casted perfectly, like in Shazam. But this probably would alter the Supergirl movie, because in Man of Steel, when Superman was going through all the Kryptonian pods, you see one open, hinting at Supergirl or a future movie or a future appearance in the universe. But with this reboot and forgetting about Man of Steel, this could be altered. Maybe it'll be like in the comics where she was part of a colony of survivors from Krypton who comes to Earth looking for Superman. But this could be the basis to bring in Batman characters like Dick Grayson's Robin, because the Dick Grayson Robin has not been seen yet, and the Robin suit we saw in Batman vs. Superman was obviously Jason Todd, because in the comics, Joker kills Jason Todd Robin, and he becomes the Red Hood. So maybe with this altered version of Batman in the DCEU, we can get either the Tim Drake or the Dick Grayson Robin. More likely it might be Dick Grayson, but that's if they don't do the Nightwing movie. Well, that's my thoughts about the reboot of the DCEU through The Flash. I hope you all enjoyed it. This has been the DCEU podcast, man. Please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and listen to me on Spotify, Copy RSS, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, Google Podcasts, and Breaker. Thank you, and goodbye.